What's up, my friends? I'm back. Share another great story. So this one takes place in 1994. So I moved back to California, Southern California, in 1993. And I'm not settled, and I hook up with some guys who are on a baseball team, and I'm, pick up baseball team, and one of the guys on the team offers me to stay with him till I find a place where I was going to live. So, guy was cool, but he was a sports radio talk sports nut. In his car, in his apartment, it was on all morning, all the time. So, one day I'm with him, and the Phillies are in the World Series. It's October of '93, and there was a show. The radio show was XTRA SPORTS 690. He would always have it on. XTRA SPORTS 690. The home base was down in San Diego, but it went up the coast, Southern California coast, at 50,000 watts. It was a big station. With like WIP would be to Philly, XTRA SPORTS 690 to LA and Southern California. So I'm in the car with him, and I'm hearing all these calls, talking bad about the Philadelphia Phillies. So my friend talks me into calling up. So I call up, and I believe it was the night, I believe it was the night they blew that game at the vet, 15-14 game or something. But I go in and I leave a lasting impression with the two hosts of the show. I'll never forget their names. The names were Steve Mason, who I believe, because I've heard him recently, he's on ESPN Radio with John Ireland, I believe, out here. He's on ESPN Radio. Steve Mason and another guy by the name of Rick Schwartz. They were the two hosts. The show came on at nighttime or early evening. Anyway, so I call in, I pick up for the Phillies, and don't you know, the next night, my buddy I'm living with, his name's Frank, and he loved hockey. I was at him with the pickup hockey game. I was hanging out, and don't you know, he gets word that Steve Mason and Rick Schwartz were summoning me to call back in because the Phillies played the next night or whatever. And Frank's like talking, you got to call in, Al. You got to call in. They want to hear from you. You're the voice of the Philadelphia Phillies. You're from Philly. You got to call in. So I call in. So this is how I get this nickname on the radio, and this is how this character I become this character. And when I call in, they decide to call me Cheesesteak Al. So all of a sudden, I get this radio name, Cheesesteak Al. And I don't call them too often. And I really, it's 1993, I'm calling casual. And before you know it, I'm calling Jim Rome. He's a young kid. He's starting out, but he's hot. He's got a great show. I'm calling him regularly, but I'm also calling, and he's on XTRA SPORTS 690, and I'm also calling another show called The Loose Cannons. And there was a co-host, there was a host and a co-host, and their names was Steve Hartman and Chet Forte. If Chet Forte's name rings a bell to you, he was the original Monday Night Football director who got himself in a scandal and got himself all jammed up, betting sports, gambling, and stuff like that. But, so the story goes like this. I'm calling Jim Rome. It's 1994. I'm calling him a couple times a week, and he just gets a big break, and he gets a gig on ESPN2, where it's a live broadcast where he's getting the top sports personalities and doing interviews. And he's great at what he does, Jim Rome, as you all know. And one day I'm on the phone, I'm doing a call with him. And keep in mind now, as you know, I'm a nobody. I'm a voice on a radio who calls in, and, you know, it is what it is. But I became favorable of his, one of his favorite callers, like I did on the Loose Cannon show. But, so now I tell him on air that I can hook him up with Vinny Pazienza. Now, Vinny's on a comeback from his broken neck to fight Roberto Duran. And I know I'm friendly with Vinny at the time because I became friendly with Vinny in 1989. Okay? And I know Vinny's coming to LA. I know he's stopping in LA before he goes to Vegas. And he's got to do press conference, all that stuff. So I say to Jim Rome on the air, I can hook you up with Vinny Paz if you want. Now, he's like, okay, I'm a caller. He's thinking maybe I'm bullshitting. So he calls my bluff. And I check raise him back and off air, talk to the producer, and I hook it up. I call Vinny. I tell Vinny, you want to be on with Jim Rome? Jim Rome was credible, you know, and he had to talk to ESPN, talk to. It was great. I hooked it all up. Vinny wanted to do it. So now I hook it up to where I'm going to go with Jim Rome, Kevin Rooney, Vinny's father, down to Hollywood and Vine, where the Talk 2 studios are, to meet Jim Rome, and I'm going to go watch this interview. The Jim Rome show was early in the morning, like 9 to 12, I believe it was, and it was a live broadcast. It wasn't until 4 o'clock in the afternoon that it came on 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live. So I'm there. I walk in the studio with Vinny, Kevin Rooney, his father. I'm behind. We come in. Vinny saying, meets Jim, Kevin, blah-blah. All of a sudden, he says, where's cheesesteak? I said, I'm right here, Jim. He comes over, he sees me, sticks out his hand, and right from there, I got a bad impression. He gives me the weakest handshake and the weakest thank you, nothing, and disregarded me. Here I am, a nobody. I'm hooking him up with a world-class professional boxer, fighting Roberto Duran, want to come back from a broken neck. Doctors, said Vinny was never going to fight again. And I'm hooking this guy up. He's making a beautiful, lovely salary. God bless him. And I'm a jerk off on the phone calling up because I'm voicing my opinions on sports. And I'm hooking up and this is what I get. So I didn't like it. So Vinny does the interview. Went well. The next morning, Vinny's also going to do a radio interview. Okay? I call up. Get on. Before Vinny gets on the interview. I'm the first caller of the show. I start my call by giving kind of thanks to everybody down at the studio. They treated us nice, the interns and everything. All of a sudden, Jim Rome with his shtick and everything fucking hung up on me. Live, as I'm talking. Hung up on me and like, this, just like, he wasn't into that kind. I was a bombastic kind of a caller. I pushed the envelope. I was a strong caller with opinions. And he just didn't want to hear, I guess, maybe kissing his ass a little bit, everybody. He hung up on me. At the time, I did not have an 800 number. It was a pain in the ass to get through. Okay? Well, from me meeting him, yes, the day before, with him disregarding me and not even being appreciative, I felt, and now hanging up to me, I lost my temper. I lost my cool. So now, my mindset is, I'm going to go down there and confront him. I know where the studio is. I'm going back down there. I listened to the radio interview with Vinny, and Vinny invites him to the fight, what have you, and I have a game plan. My game plan is, I'm going to make pretend that Vinny told me to bring tickets to Jim Rome for the fight. I have in my possession a nice packet from the MGM, a nice velour packet. I'm going to bring down there to make out like I got something, the tickets in it. So, I get down there for 4 o'clock, down at Hollywood and Vine. I knock on the door in the studio and the interns come. Now, the interns met me the day before, right? And they're like, hey, Al, what's up? No, is Jim here? Yeah, I'll see him. I got tickets for, oh, you want us to give them to him? I said, no. I said, let me come in. Can I come in? I'll wait in the green room. And I bullshit it my way inside so I can wait for Jim Rome to confront him. I'm livid. I'm putting on an act. I tell him I got tickets. So now I sit in the green room. I'll never forget this. It was actually the night he did an interview with Tommy Morrison when Tommy Morrison broke his silence about his HIV positive. I hear Jim and Tommy Morrison coming down the hallway. He's saying goodbye to Tommy and thanking him. And I come out of the green room and I see Jim, and he sees me. And I say, hey, Jim. And now I'm with a smile. He sees me. And I'm walking down the hallway. I'm maybe about 30 feet away, and I'm walking to him. Yeah, what's up? I say, hey, Jim. I'm getting closer and closer to him. I say, I got tickets for you from Vinny. And I'm getting closer and closer. I just want to get to him. I get to him. And he's a pretty tall guy. I don't know if he appears it on TV. All of a sudden, I go from a smile on my face to I lose it. I get right up to him. I said, Jim, don't ever fucking hang up on me again. Okay? Don't ever fucking do that. I call you. I fucking get on that phone. I fight busy signals to get through to you. And I support your show and I hook you up with it. Don't ever fucking hang up on me like it. He's got this smirk on his face. I tell him, Jim, take that fucking smirk off your face, Jim. And he just was looking. It wasn't even saying nothing. I lose it. I grab him. by the fucking, like I said, Jim, take that fucking smirk off your face. The moment I touched him, this guy was the camera guy. He was 6 foot. He was chiseled. He grabs me, and he throws me. It was an adjacent room. The door was open, thank God, and I fall into a couch. And he turns around. He looks at me. Guy's 6 foot, easy, built, chiseled. He says to me, don't ever fucking come in here and put hands on anybody, he says. Oh, boy. So now, I don't, listen, I go in there, I don't have a beef with this guy. I got a beef with Jim Rome. But now, I say to him, fuck, you got a problem too? Now I'm calling his bluff. And he's going to call mine right back. Yeah, you got a problem? Yeah, I got a fucking problem, I say to him. I said, you want to do something about it? He says, yeah. Oh, my God. I said, well, let's go the fuck outside. Tough guy. I said to him, tough guy, come on. Oh, my God. He goes, come on. I need to get my ass kicked. I didn't really, but if I had to, it was going to be it. But walking down the hallway, we're going outside. I'm like, oh, my God. The 2 interns, they're about 5'4", 120 pounds soaking wet, and they're trying to diffuse the whole situation. Come on, guys, we don't need this. I need to try to talk this cameraman, the guy who grabbed. Come on. We get to the front door. I'm about 10, 15 feet ahead of him. I get outside. I turn around. I'm waiting for him to come out so now I can defend myself. And all of a sudden, this big 6 foot camera guy gets to the door. Now the 2 interns are at the door, and they turn and they're holding him back. But come on, they're so little. These 2 interns are like little peewee guy. He could threw them away. He was faking like you couldn't get by them. I said to myself inside, I said, this guy's a punk. He don't want to fight. I didn't either, but he called me out. He threw me, so he never came out. That was the end of it. My car was parked right in front of the studio. I didn't get in my car because I didn't want them to see the car I had. Because I grabbed Jim Rome. I assaulted him. I lost my cool. So, obviously, I never called this show again. And I would, every once in a while, I would call up. And once or twice I tried with my voice. But my voice was so recognizable that they hung up on me. After a year went by or 2, I called in, and I got the producer on the show, and I asked him, get Jim to get off air, get Jim to come to the phone. I'm going to apologize. And like a little baby, he didn't come take my call. He came back with a message, and the kid said that one of his interns said, Al, if you want to apologize, you said, send it to him in writing. In writing? I said to myself, get the fuck out, right? This guy's a punk. I ain't saying no writing. I'm being me. You ain't gonna make me admit there's something in writing. I was gonna apologize, tell them, I'm sorry, I lost my cool. Ever since then, maybe about 5 times, he used to have a remote. He used to have a remote at a bar where he used to do a live remote with a show. If I was in the area, I would go in, and like De Niro in Cape Fear, like he was terrorizing Nick Nolte in Cape Fear, I would sit right in front of him and watch the show, watch him do the show. And he was like, he would be terrified. He didn't know what I was thinking. But I did it to break balls. So what happened was, because I never called his show anymore, and I was into calling sports talk, I was living with my aunt, and she was in her 80s, and I was almost like her caretaker. And it was like, and I got my day, passing my time, and I would call a sports talk show. And I got really popular with the Loose Cannons, with Steve Hartman and Chet Forte, and it's 1996. And, I got very popular on the radio, got to the point where I had an 800 number with them. I call anytime I want. I even co-hosted a couple shows with them, sat in, they loved me. I was the type of guy that confronted any topic, any host, pushed the envelope, and they loved my calls. And Bruce Bochy just got the job for the San Diego Padres in '96, and I would just call in and crucify him. He would make some crazy managerial moves, and I would go in being a baseball guy and critique, and I just tortured him and his talents as a manager. And I told the San Diego listeners that no way in hell would Bruce Bochy, with Punch and Judy, Wally Joyner at first base, who 6'5", left-handed, can't hit more than 5 homers out of the ballpark, 365 feet to right center, hitting 2-0 pitches to left field for base hits with men in scoring position. I would just kill both of them and just torture him, to the point where Bruce Bochy's wife called up one day, and like, who the hell's Cheesesteak Al to criticize, defending her husband? That's how bad it would get. So one day in '96, I say to the San Diego faithful that no way, no how you'll ever see a pennant with Bruce Bochy as your manager. If they did ever win a pennant with Bruce Bochy at the helm, I would walk from L.A. to San Diego and kiss his feet. Well, fast forward 2 years later. It's 1998. And they are having a dream season. You got Tony Gwynn hitting .399, looking to break Ted Williams' 400 batting average regular season mark. You got Ken Caminiti, 50 homers or better, whatever he had. He had, what was his name? Trevor Hoffman, one of the Hoffman brothers. It was a Trevor coming out of the bullpen, blowing people away. And they win the pennant. And I had a funny feeling come August, as it was obvious they were going to make the playoffs and possibly. I was anticipating the Loose Cannons calling me up and taking me on my challenge. So don't you know, after they win the pennant, I get a phone call the next morning, and I know I'm a regular listener to the show, and I answer the phone, and it's Steve Hartman, and I know they're on air. So I answer the phone. Hey, Al, I recognize his voice. I say, yeah, Steve. I asked right away, are you on air? Yes, we are, Al. I said, what's up, Steve? I know exactly where he's going to go with the phone call. He goes, we got something we want to play. We want you to hear. You ready? And they replay the phone call in '96 when I say, I'll walk to San Diego and kiss Bruce Bochy's feet. So after they replay it, it comes back to me. I said, well, what are you doing, Steve? Are you calling me out? He went, yeah, we're calling you out. I said, well, I guess I'm walking then. Because here I was, a guy always challenging other callers, other hosts, other topics. They weren't going to have over me and me weasel out. So I said, all right, I'm walking. Hang up the phone. Within an hour and a half, I got 4 sponsors. First half an hour, a guy by the name, here's the best part. The guy by the name of Joe Biggers, never forget him, an ex-Marine guy. He runs on, what does it say? He runs, I'm a puzzled for the word. But anyway, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Put this thing together. It was called Inner City Kids. It was an organization and a vehicle for kids to get off the street, play sports. It was called Inner City Kids. And Joe Biggers ran the Inner City Kids from San Diego. He was a regular caller to the Loose Cannon show. And he calls in and he says, I understand Chief Steakhouse got to walk from LA to San Diego. We like to escort him up Pacific Coast Highway and be his escort. Boom, number one. Number two, another regular caller was a regional manager of the West Coast regional manager of Reebok. Regular caller. He says, yeah, we hear Al's got to walk. Well, we want to hook him up with some Reebok outfits, some nice walking sneakers. They did. My God, the sneakers they gave me were like slippers. Number three, Travelodge calls in. They hear about it. They want to hook me up with a room after I get done my walk every day. They'll hook me up in a Travelodge. And number four, there was AirTouch Cellular was a sponsor of the radio station, and they call in. And we understand you have a guy walking. We want to hook him up with a phone so he can stay in touch with the radio station during his walk. 4 sponsors in an hour and a half. I'm walking. I got a time to walk starting on a Saturday to get to Qualcomm Stadium for Game 3 of the World Series. The Yankees, the San Diego Padres playing the Yankees. I got to time it to where I get in to the parking lot where they're doing a radio show outside in the morning. Their show was like, I don't know, noon to whatever. And I walk 110 miles. And a couple beautiful things happened on this walk. The first day I go 6 in the morning and 6 at night. I do 45 miles. I'm doing a 4 mile an hour pace. Okay? I start on a Saturday. On a Sunday, I get a phone call by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I answer the call. Hey, Al. Yeah, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're doing a good thing, Al, because we actually raised a little bit of money, too, with this. And he's, like, thanking me. And I'm saying, oh, thank you, Arnold. Oh, Arnold. And he's like, you got to come to, at the time, I don't know if he still is, but at the time, he was hooked up with Stallone, Bruce Willis, and a few other stars were playing at Hollywoods. Come stop in playing at Hollywood someday to introduce yourself to me, Al. I said, okay, Arnie. I'm okay. It was cool. And it was a fast call. And then on day 3, I get blisters on both feet, 2 on each foot, on my toes, that I was never informed. Now I was in great shape because I was walking regularly. I was a walker, and I was in great shape. And when I realized they may challenge me, I made sure to be in shape because I knew they would challenge me at the radio station. And on the 3rd day, I started getting blisters. I wasn't in tune or wasn't informed that I should have been changing my socks every hour or hour and a half because of the moisture. And man, oh man, did I suffer the 3rd and 4th day. And don't you know, I make the walk. I get into Qualcomm. I get there, and they had a masseuse ready. They were there to give me a massage of my legs and my feet. And Junior Seau was the late Junior Seau, the NFL Charger football player, who just a few years ago took his own life. It was said that he was dealing with concussions, and a lot of football players take their lives. But I had a chance. He invited me to his restaurant to eat dinner. I went. He actually was so nice to come to my table. I was all by myself eating. He sat down with me 20 minutes, talked with me. He was a great guy. That's something I'll never forget. And then I went to game 3 and 4. The San Diego Padres got swept. I never kissed Bruce Bochy's feet, but I did say, because I called up after game 3 or 4, he made another crazy move, intentionally walking somebody and moving the infield up with 1 out. It was crazy. It was 1-0. I said, gang, if you ever win another World Series or get to the World Series with him again, I'll walk to L.A. I'll walk from L.A. to San Diego and back to L.A. in a diaper. Well, it never happened with the Padres, but Bruce Bochy wound up winning 3 World Series with the San Francisco Giants. But that's my story. It was pretty radical. And that's it. 110 miles. Unbelievable. It was the most beautiful walk. Anybody, if you ever get a chance to do a walk like that, it's very therapeutic. I remember one Sunday morning coming over Pacific Coast Highway into Laguna Beach area, and it was 6 in the morning, and I was coming through a canyon, and there was not a car on the road, and the Pacific Ocean was a plate of glass, not a sound. It felt like I was the only person on Earth. It was unbelievable. I'll never forget it. All right, gang. It was a little long. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back with a few other bombastic ones.